Sean participated.
Of course, and I also know that you two are best friends, so you guys can answer together.
Okay. I'm more close to his dad, and he's like the charity case that joins us on the course.
Is Sean a Rams fan?
I'm actually a Green Bay Packers fan.
Okay, well then you can add some, context to this. So I'm gonna play a piece of sound. It's from Bomani Jones. He was on Dominique Foxworth's show.
Okay.
And he was saying that Matthew Stafford isn't a first ballot Hall of Famer, and here's Bomani explaining.
The terms and language that people use to talk about the legendary Matt Stafford, the first ballot Hall of Famer Matthew Stafford. What are you talking about? 3-time Pro Bowler Matthew Stafford. Or did he get the fourth this year?
This run with the Rams, though, I do think is the way people were talking about him before this run with the Rams or early with his time with the Rams, I think is hard to justify. I think it's going to be hard to push back against it when you add the
I don't think it's ever hard to push back on a 3-time Pro Bowler.
Only two more than Tyler Huntley. It's crazy.
Yeah. I was saying, I just don't. I mean, look, I know Pro Bowl votes only mean but so much, right? Russell Wilson's got 9 of them, and they about to keep his black out of there, right?
You think
Stafford,
so? I think Russ is still going to make it.
But Stafford. But look at the way that people talk about Russ versus the way they talk about Stafford, who doesn't really have the pelts on the wall. They're not there. Say whatever you want about the time in Detroit. You can say he wasn't the problem, but he was never the solution. And for him to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, that is somebody that no matter what the circumstance is, even if you don't make that team a Super Bowl contender or anything else, we going to watch your games and be like, damn, look at that dude. And that is never what we said when he was in Detroit.
All right, Sean, I'm going to go to you first. Is Matthew Stafford a first ballot Hall of Famer as it stands right today? If he doesn't do anything else, is he a first ballot Hall of Famer?
I got to say he is. And that's an objective point of view who's seen that guy on the other side of the sideline with the Detroit Lions as a Packers fan. The guy's put in the work, and he's had some hard competitions in terms of Pro Bowls. And let me say this. Isn't it amazing? You can always kind of replace whatever spicy talk that Bomani's going to say with whatever Sue is about to say.
Sue, what do you got?
I was going to take it easy on you today, Sean, but okay. I can see his points.
What?
I can see the points he is making. Because if you look up to Matthew Stafford's career up until that Super Bowl, was it a Hall of Fame career? I would say the answer is no.
Well, he piled up a bunch of yardage in a hopeless place. And nobody can win in Detroit.
It's been 6 years since that, which include an MVP of the league and a Super Bowl win.
This was a 3-part question. Let's get through part 1.
Okay, go ahead. Do your thing.
Is his career Hall of Fame before he got to the Rams? The answer is no. Before that Super Bowl, and even with that Super Bowl, I still didn't think he was a Hall of Fame quarterback. I would give him the nod for first ballot because of this MVP.
Sure.
And if he would have won that championship last year like he should have, that would have cemented, and this is not a conversation. But because he didn't, and because he only has 4 Pro Bowls, he got 1 ring, we talk a lot about Russ. And the way his years are playing out now affect what we think about the Seahawk years, which I don't think is fair, but it's still true. So if we're going off individual accolades, he doesn't measure up to his peers. We argued about Eli Manning. We had a big discourse. Is Eli Manning first ballot? He has 2, and he's the Tom Brady killer. So I can see his points.
I got to be honest. You add Super Bowl plus MVP. I hear people talk about Phil Rivers. It's like a bunch of empty calorie yardage Phil Rivers had over the years.
Is that
Matt
not Detroit?
Ryan, they again another guy. I think he's 5th all time in passing yardage. Lost that.
I wouldn't
Super
say
Bowl.
Matt Ryan's a first ballot.
I don't think either. But there's legitimate talk about him. Matthew Stafford is absolutely a first ballot Hall of Famer. He look. I grew up in Toledo, Ohio. Detroit was hopeless. That was a hopeless franchise when Matthew Stafford was there. And Calvin Johnson didn't do all that stuff by himself. He had somebody throwing him the football. And when he got out here, he is the.
Come on now.
What?
Sometimes it was Calvin Johnson just jumping over 25 people.
I don't disagree, but he didn't do it by himself. Matthew Stafford was there. I mean, honestly, I don't hold the Detroit years against him, but I do think the Ram years have solidified him as a first ballot Hall of Famer. The MVP was the cherry on top.
I would say the Rams years solidified him as a Hall of Famer. The MVP and would be or should have been second
And still
Super
could be.
Bowl and still could be, would be what solidifies
right.
his first ballot
Before we move
status.
to BC, Sean, as the Packers fan, you've seen this before where the MVP, your great quarterback, is doing well, but then they draft someone right behind him as the heir apparent.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to work for the Rams with Ty Simpson behind Matthew Stafford?
Okay, so I'm probably the perfect person to talk about this, right?
Yeah.
I've heard so many people try and defend this selection, and I think the only one that I've heard accurate about it was Greeny. I thought he nailed it, what he said. You have an older quarterback. You have a fantastic team. You have to get somebody right now who can contribute to you. Now, if the pick was in the 20s, go ahead and draft the successor. If you were in the teens and the low teens,
top 15 is
you
ridiculous.
have to get a guy, whether it be offense or defense, who can contribute right away. Because otherwise, everything is speculating. Because you may have a good quarterback on your hands, but you may not have the team
Stafford
in
just
the future.
mentioned extension.
Yeah, I mean,
we just mentioned
Stafford
extension with
here's
Stafford.
Here's the thing with Ty Simpson, though. You know, if Sean McVay was in on this pick, and I think I'm starting to get the feeling that he was, and he was kind of playing coy the night.
I don't know.
Do you think he was not? You think he wasn't
I know
in on
Sean
the pick?
personally. He was my coach in Washington.
Okay.
One thing we applaud Sean on is how he can't fake the funk. He does not have a good poker face. When he's pissed, you saw it when we lost to Seattle last year. Yeah, we've got a lot to work on. A lot to work on.
I was assuming that he was doing it that way because he was being sensitive to Stafford.
It looked like he got a late text when that pick came in. It looked like he looked at the phone and there was a text, hey, we need to talk. And because when he got on the phone, yeah, man, congrats.
Okay.
It was not
He said,
happiness and joy.
no, enjoy tonight.
Hey, let's make history. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Enjoy your night.
Okay, so if Sean McVay is not in on this pick, if he didn't decide, that's my guy of the future, that's the guy I'm going to develop, that's the guy who's going to come after Stafford, if that was Snead and not McVay, then I'm concerned.
But I think fans need to understand the head coach never has the last say. I don't care who it is. The GM and the owner always are in charge, and they make the last decision no matter who the head coach is. Fans just need to understand that logic from the jump. It's not Sean McVay's money.
Yep.
It's the owner's money. And if he decides, I like somebody that you don't, I don't care. You're taking him. And that's as short and sweet the conversation is.
And from one Sean has a bunch of duties to another Sean, I could tell you he was a professional. He went out there.
He handled it great.
He handled it the right way. And even better, you knew when it came out to the next day after that second round, he was going to even be more enthusiastic.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because he's a pro.
Is there a committee of Seans out there?
I hope so.
The Sean committee?
I'll join the club.
But I will say, their second round pick, getting another tight end, was a panic pick because you knew you were not expecting to go with Simpson at 13.
Right.
You could have got Sadiq, who is the best tight end in the draft, can play wide receiver for your team, and you run 13 personnel.
Yeah.
And you drafted a tight end. So it doesn't make sense why you passed on him.
Yeah, you've got now 5 tight ends?
6
tight ends?
And then you could have got Lemon, who replaces your number 3 receiver. He replaces the Tutu Atwell that you love. That he can be a returner. You have Puka, who needs money coming up. Off-field issues. You might shop him because you have your future receiver. If he stays and you extend Puka, Devontae has told us with his own mouth, I'm retiring when Stafford retires. Oh, Mekhi can replace him. No matter what happens, if I lose Puka or if I lose Devontae, I have a number 2 receiver ready to go. Instead, you have a quarterback that will not play this year at all. If
Probably
you
won't play
extend
next
Stafford, he's not going to play next year, and you still need a wide receiver.
Right. I wanted Mekhi Lemon. That was the right guy, I think, for this team. The pushback I got is, well, Sean doesn't like to play rookies anyway. That was
the dumbest thing I've ever heard, man.
Tell that to Jared Bird.
Exactly. But that was the legitimate pushback.
I really don't believe
It's the willful ignorance to die on this hill of, you guys just don't understand the logic. We're drafting for the future. You could use that future logic for Sadiq and Lemon.
Yes.
None need to play right now, but can make an immediate impact. Guess who can't? The guy you just took at 13.
And Sue, it's going to be an interesting study this year because we're going to look at Sadiq and we're going to look at Lemon on other teams.
Don't let them pop off.
And say, oh, man.
Don't let them pop off.
We blew that.
And don't let the tight end you drafted in the second round not even play this year. And because Ferguson, who you took in the second round, is going to play.
Yeah, he's going to. All right.